This is Yohhamgambal. We're back playing Koudelka. Last time we were separated from James and Edward after meeting a gargoyle. And we just fought a boss by ourselves, Gug, and now we are still trying to get back to James and Edward, who is supposed to meet us in the library. So anyways, if we can continue on. There's actually something kind of interesting over here, and I don't actually really know what it is. It's kind of hard to explain, and I think it's really here just to make you think about where your pendant is, because like I said, without the pendant you can't get the other endings. Without having the pendant, it gives you one of the three endings, and there's only one other way to get the pendant once you get to the once you go too far, and that's to get it to drop from a black cat. But I think what's going to happen here is it's going to kind of give us a it just kind of reminds us to go grab it, and thankfully we already put it on Koudelka. It's a really good item. It makes your luck go up quite a bit, which can make Mars hunting a little more useful, but Mars just don't drop any items for me, so yeah. Anyways, what you want to do is, if you remember, in the room where the old couple where the old man was butchering up people, if you spill the blood you got from there, you can come into this room. And I have no idea what's in here. And this weird creature says, "Where is the pendant dropped?" I have no idea what that thing is. I actually should have read about it, but I have no idea what it is. I don't know if it's a character, or I don't think it's ever mentioned in any of the notes we get in the game. And I think, like I said, I think it's there just to remind you to go grab the pendant, but I have no idea what it is in relations to the story. If it's just like a failed experiment or what, I honestly have no idea. But that doesn't really matter, because if we continue on this way, we'll be well, there's some bullets over here, but can't use them because got too many bullets. Too many pistol rounds. Yeah, we're kind of switching off from the pistol onto the more heavier guns, so I think at this point I make James use nothing but the heavier guns, so we won't be seeing really any more Sorry, we're going to be seeing lots of pixels. We're not going to be seeing any more pistol action, unfortunately. So anyways, though, we are in the graveyard area, and to avoid fighting a boss, you need to you need to pray at these gravestones. So along with the special letters we got in the one safe and praying at the gravestone, this will make you avoid a boss later on. Anyways, we picked up another doll. This makes the second doll in our collection. So now we have the two dolls of the two spirits, if you remember, who are holding the green card. Anyways, though, I don't think anything. Well, actually, yeah, you need to do this so the cutscene activates. So I was about to say I don't think anything changes, but it kind of is important. I'm dumb sometimes. Hey, it's that old mummy dude.
Oh, repent now! Judgment Day is near. The cacophonous sound of 7 bugles will consume the heavens, and all sinners will burn in the fiery wrath of the Lord. But I will not die. Death knows no boundaries. It is an integral part of each and every life. Death is ultimately an act of grace and love from the Lord. Oh, a blessing, is it not? Oh, Daniel Scotius Erigina, blameless soul. That man has not a heart to be found in his body. Though I do thank him for building the monastery here.
And you are?
Where are my manners? Hello. My name is Raja Bacon. I am a monk from the Franciscan order.
A monk? And I thought you were a mummy.
Yes. You are quite right in your assessment of me. Sun-dried kippers may be more pleasant to look at than my shriveled-up appearance. There was a time when I was hailed as the foremost warlock. But my profession seems to go in and out of fashion with the passage of time. Can't do much about that, can I?
You are a strange man. That's if you can be called a man.
I have given up being a man many hundreds of years ago. I am no longer a person. Though I hesitate to answer questions regarding my existence because I have yet to figure out exactly what I am.
That's fine. It's not that I need to know anyway. But tell me, why were you sleeping in such a strange place?
I've never been able to awake in a good mood. And I just planned to rest for a while. What year is it anyway? Are we still on the Gregorian calendar?
Are you trying to fool me, or are you being serious?
Of course I'm being serious. The clock I own was too big for the coffin.
It's 1898.
Lord have mercy. I've been asleep for close to 100 years.
Well, I guess there are some things that still surprise you.
Watch out. When life begins to lack the element of surprise, that's when you are walking down the path to the Lord. Anyway, as a token of my appreciation, I'm going to keep the metal gate unlocked for you. Go through the gate.
Why would you do this for me?
Well, it seems to me that your friends are running amok inside the monastery grounds. They're making so much noise. Would you mind telling them to keep it quiet?
And there we've met Roger Bacon. Roger Bacon is a very interesting character, and although he doesn't play a huge role in this game, we will see him again a little later. He is important in this game, but not as much as he is in the later games. Of course, this being Koudelka, but the later spin-off series, Shadow Hearts. He becomes a pretty prominent character in the next game. But for now, we'll see him again, and he kind of just helps us out occasionally. He's a very interesting character. He seems to have a very long lifespan, but appears to not look very youthful. Oh, and here's Charlotte's grave. Anyways, you can pray at this grave. You don't have to, it's optional, but I think it does change whether we get a boss fight. I'm pretty sure. Not 100% sure on that. But from what I've read, it does affect the boss fighting with her. But the boss... Woo, did I spoil it? I think I might have. Sorry, I'm just closing my door. Anyways, though. So, yeah, Roger opened the gate for us, and you're probably thinking, well, which gate? If you remember, there was a kind of a gate... I think the place is called the Triangle. What is that place called? It's up this way, and we've passed it before. I just don't remember what it's called. I'm trying to remember where it is in relations to the monastery, but I don't recall exactly. The Triangle Hallway, thank you. So, yeah, we've passed this place. Come over to the left, there is a Roman nut. Not that it matters, because I don't use any of them. None of my characters ever die. This game's not really particularly hard. I don't know. Like, I think the first time I played it, I had some trouble just because trying to figure out the layout and how the abilities work and weapons. But other than that, though, this game's really not that hard. But we are back in the library now, and we should run into James and Edward, hopefully. Sounds like they've been causing a lot of commotion around the place, stirring up some demons.
Edward.
Oh, thank goodness you're okay.
That's not completely the case. I have some bad news for you. I saw the caretakers, both the husband and wife.
Really, where were they?
They're dead. Apparently they were the ones responsible for killing all the thieves and desperados that were sneaking into the monastery. And with good reason.
I don't know. I don't believe it.
You should know very well what has been going on. Ogden was trying to avenge the death of Elaine.
Death of Elaine? I don't believe it. This is preposterous. Who is Elaine?
I have no idea. All I know is Elaine's spirit called me to this place. Tell me, who is Elaine? And Patrick? The caretakers told me that robbers broke into Elaine's home while Patrick was away and murdered her. Elaine was a benefactor for the caretakers. They took it upon themselves to murder every single robber and desperado that entered their grounds. It was a form of revenge for them.
I'm originally from Ireland, you see. Although small, my family had a successful business and was soon able to send me to school, which I loved from a very early age. I was soon accepted to a prestigious university in England, and with my parents' assistance, I made my way across the ocean. I met Patrick at university. We were both studying chemistry and embarking upon similar paths. About that same time, I began competing for the love of a beautiful woman, Elaine, and we had a falling out. I loved Elaine with all my heart. Omnia vincit amor. But love does not conquer all. I soon discovered that I lacked the social status and inheritance money necessary to properly care for someone so well-bred and sheltered as Elaine. I gave up my suit and made way for Patrick. To ease my pain, I joined the church and left the secular world behind. And being the perfectionist I am, the Vatican made me a bishop in charge of some very important matters. But it's been so hard to distance myself from one's emotional attachments. Although I had not seen them for 20 years, I wish them all the best in their life together. And if it hadn't been for this, I wouldn't have thought twice about seeing Patrick again. That's right, Patrick. How can this be? He promised me he was going to take care of Elaine and make her happy. What could have happened?
Being a witness to the gory aftermath. I have a hard time believing the caretakers were acting on revenge alone. Believe me, it was an unimaginably heinous sight. And what about these monsters that keep appearing? No, there's a bigger secret we have yet to uncover. This is the key to Patrick's mansion. Shall we go?
I think that makes James a little more sympathetic. Kind of understand where he's coming from. Kind of interesting. Whew. All right, well, with that out of the way, we can go ahead and head over. Well, actually, I was just coming over this way real quick to save. Not that I really needed to, but it's always a good idea to be careful. You never know, right? And also it gives me a full heal, so that's nice too. Ways. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and I'm trying to remember where we need to go because I recorded this part like 2 weeks ago and I don't remember exactly what I'm doing. All right, we got Roger. Everyone's all grouped up together. And yeah, I think I'm going to start putting the shotgun on him. It's a little stronger. His pie goes down a little bit, but that's okay. James has enough pie for everybody. Doesn't need any more. And the funny thing is, we're just running across a lot of enemies we've already fought. So I think we're not really going to be running. Where did I? Oh, I have my little notebook right here. We're not really going to be running across any new enemies. I mean, we will, but they're all just boss fights. The new enemies. That's right. Okay, I remember exactly what we're doing now. Okay, we need to go and give back the two spirits their dolls because remember they were blocking the area. They had the green key, but we couldn't get into the door right next to them, and you can't beat them. They're unkillable. So with that though, we can go ahead and head back. Thankfully, the place is not too far off. But before we do that though, we are heading over here because we did not get the items that were inside the safe. And again, when you get the items inside the safe and pray at the Charlotte's gravestone, it will prevent you from fighting a boss. And I will show you the boss fight, and I'll show you what happens when you fight her, and what happens when you fight the boss and when you don't. But we'll continue on the story from when I don't fight him, because you get a better item when you don't fight the boss than when you do fight the boss. So we have Sophia's letters. And let us see. Well, I don't know who this Sophia is and how they came here. Okay, so Sophia is the mother of Charlotte, the spirit, the ghost girl spirit that we've run across a couple of times who did not like us and was constantly talking about how she was never loved and hated. Okay. But, judging by these letters, it seems like she was very much loved and cared for. Yeah, but it seems like, her mother dearly did care for her, but for whatever reason was not able to keep her. Wow, 20 letters. Okay, getting a little backstory onto why she wasn't able to keep Charlotte. Charlotte being, of course, the baby of a secret affair, which probably would have caused trouble for somebody. Yeah, and she's still sending these letters, but I'm guessing Charlotte is around 10, so she died fairly early in her life and was unable to see any of these letters, so why was she even in the monastery, though? Because the monastery was a prison, so it's kind of interesting how she was here in such a place. Like, why here of all places to keep your daughter a secret? Like, why didn't you just send her to an orphanage? Why do you send her to this terrible place? But, I don't know. I'm not the character, so I couldn't say. But anyway, so, if we continue down this way, we will get there pretty quickly. It's not too far away, thankfully. So, just keep walking that way and we'll get there. And another level up, yay! We need more of those. Sorry if you hear something, I was just letting my dog out. We just rescued a new dog, and she's just barking at some sounds outside, and I just don't want to hear her barking in the recording, so sorry about that. Anyways, she's a cute little dog, but we rescued her, so yeah. She likes my room. She hangs out in there a lot. She's basically claimed my room as her room, and yeah. It's funny, we were trying to come up with a name with her, and I accidentally called her Ladybug, and that's just kind of the name we stuck with. It's such a kid name. It's not even like a good name, but it's just her name now, so it's just funny. Anyways, we were almost there, thank goodness. But there's unfortunately though, later in the game, we're gonna have to have some at the end of the game, we're gonna have to do a pretty big backtrack, and unfortunately, my sister's being super loud outside. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, though, the backtracking, if you're brand new to the game, the backtracking in the last part of the game is actually super hard because the monastery is pretty big, and I would say the map is not useful. The map isn't useful at all. I've never once found the map useful, and I don't use it. I just know the area now pretty well because I've played the game more than once. But other than that, though, yeah, it's hard for the first time, and I'm not sure what I was doing here. I was picking my nose or something. I think I was thinking, or maybe picking my nose. Probably a bit of both. Sometimes you just gotta scratch your brain. Anyways, we come up here and we turn this corner and we will make it over to the two little kids. What's with all these kids here in this prison? Yep, give them back their dolls and we can then get the key. Sorry, we can't get away, though. We gotta keep going. There's stuff to be done here, little ones. If we could just leave, we would, but, obviously that is not an option. The green key. The words dungeons are carved on the back. Alright then, well with that, we can go ahead and use the green key on this door. And then immediately throw it away because it's useless. All that work for the green key. And anyways, if you look over here, we're on the other side of the prison, where we fought the jailer. And we're leveled up, which is good. He almost has 100 in strength and vitality, which is good. Yeah, and James is getting up there too. He actually do a decent amount of damage. And in the corner, there's a potion, so we need to grab that. But need to give more James shotgun shells. Unfortunately, the shotgun can only hold 2 shots at once, so even if you get it to level 3, it's only going to shoot twice. So it's a bummer, but the shotgun is pretty powerful. So it's It's not as bad as the bow gun though, which only use the crossbow, which only has one shot. So you always just get one shot, which is a bit of a bummer. But it's really powerful. But anyways, if you come over here, we're gonna go ahead and we're in Charlotte's cell. It's a very nice cell. I wonder how she died. I don't know if it's ever explained how she died. Anyways though, can't leave unfortunately. A mysterious force is shutting the door. Food's still on the table, but we can leave if we walk over this way. Uh-oh. The furniture starts attacking us! Oh no! Yep, so here we have, I guess I would call it the mini-boss. Yeah, I guess it's the mini-boss. Anyways, we fought these kind of things before, but here we have the Possessed Chair B and the Possessed Shelf B. So yeah, Possessed Chair is just level 30, HP 5,776, MP 52, takes half damage from fire, absorbs light, and is weak to water. And of course, James has his fire sword, so he's not going to do a whole lot. And I forgot he was not weak to fire, so. I'm trying to level up the other spells of Koudelka right now, so that's why I'm using the Earth spell. And the Possessed Shelf, level 30, HP 5,776, MP 52. Wind, it takes half damage from wind, absorbs light, and is weak to earth. And because we haven't seen this before, we actually have a bio for it. Levitating because of a poltergeist. It takes a perverse joy in causing mayhem. Ooh, damn, even though it's not weak to it, that did a shit ton of damage. But yeah, though, these guys aren't that hard. Not very tricky at all. And yeah, I do a crap ton of damage. And of course, I'm gonna do a little bit of buffing with James. So now Edward, he's got a little more strength on the side. Need to probably buff Koudelka too, but I don't remember what I do. He is poison, but that's okay. I'm gonna go after the shelf because it's closer. And it does a little more damage because he doesn't take half damage from fire, so that's good. But one more hit from Koudelka should finish off the chairs. Yeah, look at that. They're not dangerous at all. Yeah, it gets to a point where if you put your skills in the right areas, you can just really decimate enemies and bosses. Of course, Edward is a little hurt, but he can take a couple more hits. And I can always heal him with a potion too. I think I'm just gonna, I just shoot with James. James does pretty decent damage with the shotgun. Almost 9,000, not 9,000, I'm sorry, 900. And that should be the end of the chairs. Yeah, those chairs just got rocked. And then the only thing left is the shelf. And those things are weak to earth, so if it doesn't die soon enough from James and Edward's attacks, it will definitely die from Koudelka's magic. But this part's, there's only like not even a minute left for this, so yeah, it's pretty much over at this point. I just don't remember how I kill him. Oh, unfortunately though, James has got to put more rounds in his gun. Again, that sucks, but that's just how the shotgun works. But he's pretty fast, so he gets another turn, which is nice. Nice, look at that. Around 800 damage. Yeah, all the other spells are level 2 except for her Megalith. Oh, and his sword level went, I think, to level 2 or 3. I don't know if it was level 3 before. I mean, if it was level 2 or 1. And this is the end of it right here. Say goodbye, furniture. Boom, 5,000. Juicy. Yeah, that's a little overkill, but hey, that's just how we do it here. And with that, the mini-boss is done. Whew, thank goodness. Alright. And this is what happens if you don't have the letters from Sophia.
Charlotte, stop it.
Or prayed at Charlotte's grave.
If you keep this up, you're the only one that's going to get hurt.
I'm not fooling around. I don't want your pity. I have enough.
Charlotte, listen to me. I understand you. We're very similar, you know.
You could never understand me. How could you? I've never been out of this place. I was born and I was executed. On the day I was killed, a priest came to me and said, "Dear Lord, please accept into your glorious kingdom this poor, sinful lamb." Tell me, what did I do that was so bad? Is it my fault I was born? If I was born just to be killed, why did she have me?
Oh, My mother abandoned me, too. I've been alone ever since I was a little girl, just like you. That's why
That's why what? That's why you understand me? That's why you're like me? Don't make me laugh. You're not like me. You're What do you mean you're alone? What do you mean you understand? Give me a break.
Oh, Charlotte, I'm so sorry. I want you to understand. I really...
Curse upon you.
What?
A curse upon you.
Charlotte.
On you, on your friends, a curse upon you all. I will kill everything. Why don't you just die? Die! When everything is dead and gone, then we'll be the same. Only then will you understand my pain. I know what it is to regret being born. I will kill you! Kill you! Kill you!
Charlotte's got a lot of angst. Anyway, so like I said, if you don't have the letters and if you don't have Sophia's letters and pray to the gravestone, that is what happens. Charlotte will get very annoyed and angry at you and attack you, and thus becoming a boss fight. And she's really gross looking. So this is Charlotte's Wrath. It's level 30, HP 4,761, MP 291. It's null to fire, absorbs light, but is weak to water and 1/2 damage from earth. And it's the true form of Charlotte, unable to feel love and only hatred for the world and mother that shunned her. Charlotte has taken on this piteous form. Only with its death may her wandering soul be laid to rest. So yep, Charlotte is pretty angry, and she looks like she has like a dangling feather from her side. Anyways, her model's really gross, and yeah, her model's really gross. It's kind of cool though, but she's really easy. She's not hard. And I mean, I wouldn't say either way. If you fight her or don't, it doesn't really matter. In the sense that it's not like a hard fight you want to avoid, and it's not like you get a ton of XP out of it. The only reason why you wouldn't want to fight her is, you know, it's one less fight, which is kind of nice, but it's also you get a better item from not fighting her. But when you do fight her, you still get an item, but just not as good. So anyways, though, just using some water on her. As you can see, it's pretty much took half of her life. More than half of her life, since she only has 4,000. I took about 70% of, like 75% of her life right there, so, she's a pretty easy boss, not difficult at all. She keeps throwing up. She can do a lot of damage to to Edward though, just because, you know, my Edward at least. He's my Edward. At least the characters that don't have high magic defense. But he was also really close too. Anyways, used a spear, decent amount of damage, around 600, and he got a bit of life back too, which was nice. And James can't really do much except for, I don't know, buff and debuff. Which works. God, that thing's gross, though. Like, really gross. Just keeps throwing up everywhere. That's not healthy. You should go see a doctor. And before I said I didn't know how she died, I forgot that they executed her. But of course, you know, they obviously didn't have a good reason for it. But, she looks like a giant maggot. But yes, they executed her, and I'm not really sure why. Kind of terrible, honestly. Anyways, all my characters are poisoned, but not really a big deal. Just moving Koudelka up a bit so that she can blast her with one more water spell, and that will definitely be the end for her. Unless one of my other characters kills her first, but I don't recall if someone else gets to drop on her. Her magic can be a little dangerous, but it's nothing too bad. It's just that it poisons you, which can be kind of annoying, because poison actually does a pretty decent chunk of life to your characters in this game if you're not being careful. But other than that, though, it's fairly easy. Yeah, and now she's gonna go down with this. Give her a big old clean bubble bath. Eat this! Get clean, you giant worm! Feel kind of bad because now she's died twice. She has had a very hard life, unfortunately. But, not much we can do about that, except if I went and grabbed the letters, but, nah. And, of course, when you kill or you get levels. I just threw it all into whatever because I didn't care. Because this isn't the file I was continuing on with the story. This isn't the file we're going to keep using. But anyways, we get the item to Star Brooch. This is the only place you can get this item. It's a special item. You get it from obviously beating, almost called her Claudette, Charlotte. But it's not nearly as good as the item as we get okay, let me start my sentence over. The item is not nearly as good as the other item we can get if we don't fight her. So yeah, as you can see, it's okay. I mean, it's pretty decent pie, you know, pretty decent intelligence boost, but nothing amazing. But this is what happens if you don't fight her and you have Sophia's letters and you've prayed at her grave.
Do you know what these are? They're letters from your mother.
My mother? Letters? There's so many.
Did you know that your mother was a queen of Hanover? It seems that after you were born in secret, your mother was locked up inside Alden Castle. Even while she was imprisoned there, she sent many letters to you here in the monastery. She never laid eyes on you, but she often imagined what you looked like. She dreamt of the day when she would be able to see you. Her letters never got to you, and she was never told of your death, so she continued to write you letters even after you died. Your mother loved you, Charlotte.
What? No. I can't take this now. Should she love me? No. It's too scary. Hey, I feel warm. What's happening? No. Help me. You're not gonna forgive her? You love me? I hate you. Don't pray for me. You.
Charlotte, how does it feel to know you are loved?
And there we go. That's what happens with Charlotte. It seems like she can finally pass on. She has no reason to stay in this world. Her anger, I guess she feels unjustified in her anger towards the world, and thus she can move on to the next world. And with that, we get the item, the Flare Brooch. This is actually an item we're going to see in the other Shadow Hearts games. This is actually a pretty useful item in a couple of next games. But anyways, for now, we're going to just equip it to, I believe we are going to equip it to James. I mean, to Edward. Even though it is a woman decorative item, yeah, we're still going to just give it to Edward. Because he can use the extra defense and, you know, why not? Or do I give it to James? No, I give it to Edward because he could use it, yeah. It gives him extra vitality too, which is always a boon for me. And I love the little card effect. I don't know if I ever mentioned it. Yeah, but with that though, that's what happens with Charlotte. She is no longer, it doesn't really matter which ending you choose, she eventually disappears. One obviously is better than the other for her, but you know what? I'm going to end the video here, and we will go ahead and continue exploring the monastery in the next part. So this has been Yohhamgambal. Thanks for watching. See you next time as we continue playing Koudelka. Okay, bye then.